Hello.
Hello. I didn't know how energetic to be.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm running out of different ways to start these webinars, so it's just like, hi.
It's just horrible,
jazz hands.
isn't it? It's horrible.
Yeah.
Surprise.
Right. Exactly. So happy. Oh God, what day is it? What week is it? What month is it? Happy Tuesday, I think.
Today is Tuesday. Week 6 of quarantine. I've been counting.
Wow.
And Vincenzo already. Hi. Hello.
Hello. Excellent. Okay, fantastic. We have some people saying hello already. Cool.
Yeah, Alex from Modena.
Okay, excellent.
Yeah, so keep introducing yourselves, guys. We love to know everything about you. Everything. Tell us all of your secrets.
Exactly. We want to chat with you. Keep us sane in this situation. So Jane, how are you doing?
Yeah.
Are you doing okay? You having a good day?
Yeah. Today has been probably one of the better days. I got some books that came in the mail today, which is nice. And I've had a lot of work to do, spread out nicely. So my day has been full.
Yeah, I was thinking
what
that
about
because
you
were teaching
Lisa?
This morning, and now it's very spread out. I am good. Yeah, I'm good. My exercise bike arrived, so I'm excited to set that up properly. And yeah, I'm pretty good. But I'm working until 9, so yay.
Me too. Usually I would complain, but considering everyone knows I have nothing else to do, it's okay. It's fun.
Excellent. So we also have Claudia from Rome. Fantastic.
Claudia.
Excellent. Flavia, welcome.
Flavia.
Maria Teresa, fantastic. From Rome, or Mary, sorry, Mary from Rome. Andrea.
Mary.
Marta.
Andrea. Marta. Possibly. What name of this webinar did you see, Alex?
Because we think that one of our other teachers...
I believe that I changed it.
Yeah, one of our other teachers made it a bit festive, shall we say.
Festive is a good word. We can say we were punked, which is like we were pranked, maybe.
Yeah.
One of the other teachers messed around with our lesson. Maybe they were jealous that we were going to give such a great lesson today.
Or maybe they were just bored.
Who knows?
Yeah, ready to rock.
Yeah. Here we go, ready to rock.
Yeah, that was definitely.
I mean, if you want, you can still rock out with us, though.
I think
it's a possibility.
The lesson is called "Be Prepared." Oh, sorry, it's Cinzia. Okay, sorry. Okay, okay, it's just the name. So you're using his YouTube to comment. Sorry, Cinzia. Yeah, so it was "Be Prepared to Rock." So unfortunately we don't have a lesson, but you should always be prepared to rock. We don't have a lesson called "Be Prepared to Rock."
But... You never know when you'll get the opportunity to rock.
Exactly.
It could happen tomorrow, Alex. It could happen next week. So stay ready, okay?
Exactly. Yeah, so we think that Caesar, one of our other teachers, was having some fun with the titles on YouTube. Okay, but it is in fact called "Be Prepared." Okay, so be prepared. So in this case, what are we going to talk about? Okay, so let's take a look what we're going to talk about in this webinar. Okay, so Jadene, would you like to read what we're going to talk about?
So be prepared. In this focus activity, we will be looking at modal review. So we'll be doing a modal review, giving advice, and preparing for an occasion. And Alex is laughing at us. Don't laugh at us, Alex. Be
So
prepared. We're serious. Prepare yourself. It's life or death.
be prepared. Okay. So just to kind of kick things off, okay, so we have here a couple of questions. Okay, a couple of questions to ask you all. Okay, so in this case, you guys can let us know. So answer the questions in the comments. Okay, so in your opinion, what are the worst mistakes someone can make attending a job interview? Okay, so give us your opinions in the comments, okay? And then if you have ever, so you can tell us if you've ever made a mistake, so a typical mistake in an interview. So share your experience with us. Okay, so we want to hear about this from you guys. Okay, so I think the title gives away one thing. What do you think, Jadine?
Probably quite a big one. But being late to an interview. But also, I think being too early for an interview. Personally, I think you should always arrive 5 to 10 minutes before the interview. But if you arrive
Yeah.
any earlier, then it's too much because I think it makes the people waiting for you feel awkward that you've been waiting for half an hour for this interview. Ugh.
Yeah, I think maybe it's too, because you come across too keen. Uh, so you're too keen to, if you're like, I'm ready, I'm like desperate for a job.
Yeah, no, it's true. And also, maybe I think it's a sign of not understanding the etiquette or like the common, because it's kind of, I think, at least in British culture, we always try to be polite. So if someone arrives too early, then we feel like we have to rush, or it makes
Yeah.
us feel rude to keep someone waiting. So I think also showing like the etiquette is showing that you don't know that you shouldn't be too early is also a problem. So Alex says to be in late. So just be careful there because we don't use the preposition in. We just say to be late. So to be late,
Exactly.
I am late, they are late.
Exactly. Yeah, like you can say, if you want to say it differently, you can say to arrive late, but yeah, to be late in general, to be late. Okay.
Exactly. So Shinsia is often late. But are you late to interviews, Shinsia? So for work?
I think she just means in general, everything.
In life? I like to be honest in my interviews, so I show up late so that they know I'm going to be late. They understand.
Get ready. Okay. And Alex says to be not prepared. Okay, so really good point. But actually, here we could just say to be unprepared. Okay, so the opposite of being prepared is to be unprepared. Okay, so unprepared, and we would say for some questions. So to be unprepared for some questions. Yeah, exactly.
And I love this one from Mary. So wearing inappropriate clothes, because remember we put the adjective inappropriate before the noun, which is clothes in English. But yeah, to wear clothes that are inappropriate. I completely agree.
And we can also say that in a different way. We could say dressing inappropriately. Dressing inappropriately. So we often talk about it that way. So to dress inappropriately. So yeah, definitely that gives the wrong impression. Sometimes it's better to do something. I don't know, to be more too formal instead of being too casual.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've got okay, so Claudia says, I'm always on time. Excellent. Martha says, to do the job interview for the wrong job. Is this something that has happened to you? Martha, have you ever just showed up to an interview and said, okay, I'll just continue?
maybe
Alex, to be
maybe
drunk.
there was confusion. That's definitely a no-no. I would say, yeah, that's a good point. Don't be drunk. Never be drunk at an interview.
Or if you are drunk, make sure they can't tell.
Mm.
Okay.
Wow.
Be a
Fantastic.
discreet drunk.
Yeah, exactly. Um, okay, and Andrea, I'm always scared. Okay, so scared. I'm always scared. Scared to be stuck in traffic. Okay, to be stuck in traffic. Because we say to be stuck in traffic, and in fact, I came. So I think you mean in general, I arrive, or for interviews, I came 15 minutes before. Okay, so 15 minutes before, or 15 minutes. We can also say 15 minutes in advance. In advance as well as like before, at least.
Mm,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, really
So
good.
usually I actually do arrive earlier than 10 minutes, but I stay around the area. I just walk around until it's the right time
Even
to go
I
in.
remember when I interviewed for our school, I remember I stood in a doorway just like down the street a little bit because I was like, okay, I'm 20 minutes early. I'm gonna wait
Yeah.
a bit. So I remember I was just like awkwardly
Yeah.
standing in a doorway on my phone, just like trying not to be too early.
No,
And in
I've
fact,
done exactly the same thing.
yeah,
And
exactly. And
also
they forgot I had the interview that day
to give
anyway,
some
so it was
time
fine.
to mentally prepare.
Yeah,
No.
yeah.
Oh, it's terrible.
I know. I ended up having a Skype interview in the office. Oh no.
Oh no.
What? So that explains this point. How did they even interview her for the wrong position? Like
Yeah, I
they
mean,
doing
from
like
both
multiple
sides. Did she
interviews?
not see the questions were wrong? Did they not have her name written down somewhere? This is very disorganized.
Um, Unless it was like they were doing multiple interviews for different positions at the same time, so it was just like crossed wires.
Maybe. How unusual. And Sylvia says, hello to all. I'm from Parma. Sorry for being late. So, no problem at all. We're just happy that you're here. Just a
Don't worry,
reminder, we always use the verb
this
to be with late.
exactly. Sorry for being late. And yeah, this slide, Sylvia, don't worry, we didn't prepare this slide just for you. I'm late, I'm late. Excellent. Okay, so guys, let us know if any of you have had any kind of strange experiences in interviews. I don't know, Jadine, for you, have you had any like big mistakes or embarrassing things in interviews happen?
Yeah, definitely. I think not a big mistake, but one thing I used to do when I was younger and probably would still do now is speak very quickly, but too quickly, like a nervous speaking where you're just blah, 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 which is not great. But one thing I did once at an interview, which I'm very embarrassed about, but it was a miscommunication beforehand, is I asked during the interview, do I have the job? Not because I thought I was cocky enough to get it, but because it was like a really last minute, like 30-minute in advance, they need someone to go to this job. So go have an
Ah,
interview quickly. So I didn't
okay.
know if like they just needed to see who I was as a person first, or if they were interviewing others. But the way it came out was just really cocky. I was just like, so do I have the job? And the guy was
Yeah.
like, oh, no, no, it's an interview. And I was just like, oh, this is embarrassing. That's not what I meant.
No, but I understand. That
Couldn't do
sounds very
anything.
confusing. It sounds really confusing.
Yeah.
And we also have
I do.
Marco is joining us. So Marco just joined a bit late. Don't worry about that. And Mary says that she does like you, so she arrives early and walks around. So yeah, not to arrive too soon.
It's the best way, Mary. Yes. Marta, the Italians aren't famous for their organization.
No,
It's
not really.
cute. Oh,
So
and
that's probably
Alex likes my dark room. Thank you.
ah.
Thank you. I like it too.
Yeah, Jadene is starring in a movie at the moment. No, I'm joking. Oh, Sylvia, that's a really good point. So the worst mistake
Yes.
is if the phone rings. So yeah, if the phone rings during an interview. So yeah, it's embarrassing. But I think if you like just say, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry," and turn it off, it's okay. But obviously, if you take the call, it's definitely not a good idea.
No. Okay.
Um,
Sorry. Um, yes. So Marco says, "What is a miscommunication by hand?" Hmm.
so maybe I I don't think I said by hand, but maybe
Maybe
by
misunderstanding.
misunderstanding. By chance, though, by chance or offhand? Maybe offhand, did we say?
I don't think so. Oh, I hate when this happens because there's a delay between the comments. Um, I can tell you, Marco, miscommunication by hand does not exist.
Yeah,
So don't use this.
yeah. But we're not sure of what we
Maybe I think
said.
misunderstanding.
Yeah. Like I said, I explained in the comments
So
that
uh,
there
um,
were crossed wires. Like misunderstanding is crossed wires as well, but
yeah,
hmm.
I don't know. We'll try to
Sorry.
remember, or maybe.
Offhand.
Oh, he said offhand.
Okay. So in the case of something offhand, so it's again by chance. So like it's not planned. So if something is offhand, it's unplanned. Unplanned. So stay
I
tuned.
also have another question, just for everyone. Have you ever had something weird happen in an interview? So not as you being interviewed, but from the interviewer point of view. Have they ever asked you any weird questions,
Yes.
or have they answered a phone in your interview? So
Yeah, it can happen.
tell
It can
us.
happen. Something strange, like maybe they asked you a weird question. Sometimes they do that, or else you end up in a strange situation. Um, one thing, I guess it's something it was unavoidable, but for me, just to share a bit of my experience, when I worked with during the interview process, when I worked years ago, I taught online. So I was teaching online with a Chinese company, and I had to pretend as part of a trial. So I had to do a trial lesson, but I had to pretend that a 45-year-old man was a 6-year-old child. And I had to pretend to teach him as if he was a child uh, in this type of situation like this. And it was weird and awkward and very strange because I had to talk to him like he was a child and teach him how to say juice. So it was very strange.
That's unusual, but I'm sure it gave you a great skill, Lisa.
Yeah, yeah, no, yep.
Okay.
Oh dear. But yeah, so guys, if you've had any of those strange experiences, please let us know. In the meantime, I'm just going to move on to our next thing. So these are some do's and don'ts. Okay, so some do's and don'ts about preparing for an interview. Okay, and if you're writing to us about your experiences, please let us know in the meantime. Okay, but before we read this, before we read this text, just keep an eye out for some phrasal verbs. Okay, so phrasal verbs. Okay, so Flavia has an experience to share with us.
Ah, okay. So she said in the interview they had, well done for the self correction. So I have something in my eye.
Oh, no problem. So I'll tell.
They
I'll read this if you want.
had the surname. Okay.
Okay.
They said they got the wrong surname, so I didn't understand that they were looking for me.
Oh dear,
Oh
that's
no.
awkward.
How long did it take? Yeah. How long did it take before you realized they were looking for you?
Oh, that's really embarrassing. It's
Okay.
their mistake though. It's their mistake. Um, okay, really good. So in this case, so what we want to do is to talk about, okay, so guys have started getting these. Okay, so finding a phrasal verb in the text, which means so we're looking for to arrive, to review, to give a certain impression, to be different, and to be up to date. Okay. So take a look at these. And then we'll read the text. So Flavia says they were looking for Flavia, but there was a lot of people. Okay. So probably another Flavia as well, or getting
No.
confused. Okay. So really good. So remember that a phrasal verb is a verb followed by a preposition. And then when they go together, it creates a different meaning. Okay, different meaning. So Jadine, do you want to read part of this? Maybe half of this, and I'll read the other half while the guys look
Yeah,
at look for the phrasal verbs.
sure. Okay, so do's and don'ts. When preparing for an interview, there are a few important things to remember. You should always go over potential interview questions and practice your answers. You ought to dress nicely. Unless you live in Hawaii, you had better not turn up to an interview in shorts and a t shirt.
Perfect. It's also a good idea to keep up with recent events in the company you're applying to. By doing this, you will come across as a knowledgeable, intelligent candidate. Remember, first impressions are very important. So follow these simple steps to make sure you to make sure you stand out from the crowd.
Okay, and yeah, so Sylvia has given us one. So she says to review is to go over something.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Um,
Excellent.
okay, and Chinsia is leaving us on a cliffhanger. So she's
Mm-hmm.
got to be up to date, but we are waiting for the phrasal verb. Um, so who can think of any to arrive?
Okay, so
Arrive.
yeah.
And I think this is one that I have used already in this webinar about 5 times. I
Yeah.
noticed as I was saying.
Okay. So yeah, we'll give you a bit of time because it takes a little while for the answers to come through, and there's a lot to search for in this.
So
Okay, but we're just looking for the phrasal verbs.
do you think this is good advice, Lisa? These do's and don'ts?
Yeah, I think actually a lot of them already. So a lot of them already came up when we were kind of discussing about like dressing. Make sure to dress appropriately. Also research. So we talked about researching. So yeah, I think
Yeah.
it's, if you don't do these things, these are like the essentials. So I think it's pretty bad. You obviously don't really want the job if you don't do these things, or if you do the wrong things.
It's true. Being underprepared is terrible. So Alex says to arrive is to turn up. Exactly.
Excellent.
So we can say to turn up. We can also say, which I use a lot, to show up. So to show up or to turn up is to arrive at a place.
Hmm.
And then
To review,
to
so
review.
so I know we were talking
Okay, so
about this
Marta had
earlier.
a
So to,
suggestion.
ah,
Yep.
okay. Okay. So I think maybe, yeah, because they're very similar. So I think that's why it's confusing because come across, go over, they're quite similar sounding. But yeah, to go over something is to review it. Like to go over my notes is to review my notes.
Exactly. But then, so as Flavia says, to give a certain impression is to come across in a certain way. Um, you may also hear this phrasal verb differently because, for example, you can come across a piece of information. So just come across and then, yeah, noun, so a piece of information. This is to discover accidentally. But if you come across as something, then it's to give an impression. So to come across as friendly, to come across as angry is to give the impression that you have these characteristics.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah, so like we would say, like if you, I don't know, if you met someone in a difficult circumstance, you might say like, "Oh, I'm really sorry. I hope I didn't come across as rude. I was distracted." Okay.
Exactly.
And then to be different, so
Okay, and
perfect.
then
So Marta has said to stand out. Fantastic. Okay, so to stand out from the
fantastic.
crowd, we had that there. Yeah, to be different. And then the last one, to be
Yes,
up
and
to
then
date.
finally is to keep up with.
Exactly. Really good. Those are excellent. And guys, let us know in the comments if there's anything you see that you don't understand. But I think those are the most difficult
Yep.
parts of that text. Okay, the phrasal verbs. Okay. And you can even, if there are any new phrasal verbs here, you can even just take a picture or take note of the new phrasal verbs. Okay.
Okay, but well done, everyone.
Excellent. Really good work. So then, to practice with these, okay? So to practice with these. Okay, so we have the same phrasal verbs, but we want to use them in sentences. Okay, so take a look at these. So in the comments, you can put one and the phrasal verb that's missing, two phrasal verb that's missing. Okay, so take a look and try to match the correct phrasal verb to the sentences. So Jadine, would you like to? We can do one at a time. So do you want to read number one, and then I'll read number two?
Sure. And just for Flavia, so this word we say knowledgeable.
Mm-hmm.
Knowledgeable. So the K is silent and there are 4 syllables. Knowledgeable.
Okay.
So number 1, a well-written CV will help you from the other candidates.
Okay. And then number two, you should never late to an interview.
Number 3, you ought to the information on your CV to make sure it is correct and up to date.
Okay. And then in order to be a good candidate, you must new developments in your industry.
And number 5, pay attention to your body language, sit up straight, make eye contact, smile, and don't fidget. So, fidget is just to move around. This will help you confident and focused. And well done because we've already got lots of comments. So Alex and Sylvia both say for number 1, a well-written CV will help you stand out from the crowd. Oh, sorry, from other candidates. Yes.
Excellent.
Perfect.
Really good.
And then
and
number
then
2.
We have really good. Yeah, so the guys have said number 2, you should never turn up. Excellent.
Perfect. And number
Okay. Some
3.
time.
So Alex says you ought to keep up with the information on your CV. But don't forget that to keep up with, we said, is a synonym for to stay up to date. But we've already used up to date in this sentence. So we ought
Yeah,
to do something to make sure that our CV is up to date. So, what action can we do beforehand to check that our CV is looking good?
exactly. Because we can say to update your CV, so to update the information, but just in this sentence, for the whole sentence, it doesn't make sense.
Okay, so we have the ones we have left are come across as, keep up with, and go over. So if we've said it's not keep up with, what is it more likely to be? To give the impression that, so to come across as, or to go over to review? What do you think you should do with your CV?
Exactly. So we'll give you a little bit of time just to mention as well, like to fidget. So for example, it's something usually that kids do a lot. So it's like if you're playing with something as well. So like I'm fidgeting with my pen, I'm playing with it while I'm talking. So it's kind of like it seems very distracted as well. So if you're moving a lot or you're doing something or playing with something, it's a
Yeah,
nervous habit.
definitely. So Maria, Marta, Andrea, well done. We say you ought to go over the information on your CV, so you ought to review it and make sure that it's correct. Good.
Mm-hmm.
So number 4, to be a good candidate, again, well done, Mary. You must keep up with new developments in your industry.
Excellent.
Perfect. So finally, number 5 then is this will help you come across as confident and focused. So again, well done, everyone who got that.
Really good. Okay,
Really, really nice.
excellent. So yeah, these are quite tough as well. So don't worry if you got confused. They're quite tough to match up, and we have to look at the whole sentence as well, to understand. Okay, perfect. And let us know if you've any questions on any of the other vocabulary here. You can just ask us in the comments. Okay, so then these are some questions, okay? So some personal questions. So again, we talked a little bit about these already, but we can also, you can just choose, okay? So whichever. So if you have a response for any, and tell us about your own thoughts on these questions, okay? So what do you think makes people stand out in an interview? Okay, so using one of our phrasal verbs there. So what makes people stand out? Have you ever turned up late to an important event? So not just an interview, but any important event. Uh, it's quite funny because usually in Italy everyone is late. Um,
Have
do
you
you
ever been
often?
early?
Yeah,
Have you ever
exactly.
turned
That's
up
more
early?
shocking. Do you often go over possible questions before an interview? Is it better to come across as excited and eager or quiet and confident? That's personal opinion as well. And why is it important to keep up with new developments in your industry? Okay, so lots of questions there. So let us know your thoughts on these in the comments. Um,
Yeah.
what do you think about
Was
these
it?
questions, Nadine?
Um. So for the first one, what do I think makes people stand out in an interview? I don't know. I really don't. But I have heard um, that if you want to be remembered in an interview, you should wear something red. This was a
Interesting.
psychology study. Yeah. So if
Hmm.
someone is interviewing many candidates in a day, they are more likely to um, yeah, remember you more if you have worn something red.
Interesting. Okay, that's really
Yes.
interesting. Yeah, because
Obviously, if the interview is bad, then you don't want them to remember you. But
well, they'll remember you for another reason as well.
exactly.
Oh dear. Yeah, I think also it's like I generally think that it's about a good combination of personality because if your
Yep.
personality fits well with the person who's interviewing you, then you will already stand out. Because sometimes people have
Yeah.
said to me about interviews that, oh, the person was really challenging. I didn't like how they asked the questions. And then I'm like, well, do you want to work for that person? They don't sound like a good fit for you. Um, so, sometimes
Mm,
I think those impressions and those personality combinations, if at an interview there's already a problem, then I think that says a lot about the potential job. But again,
yep.
I've always been very lucky in interviews, so I can't say anything. I know other people have had different experiences.
I see. I see. So Flavia says she thinks what makes people stand out is being reliable, professional, and relaxed. I like relaxed actually,
Hmm,
and I agree with that. I think if you're quite relaxed in an interview, then just everyone feels comfortable, and people probably want to work with you. Um, yeah, if you've got that nice atmosphere.
yeah, definitely, definitely. I think it's a good thing because I think a lot of people overthink interviews because they get so nervous about them. And I can understand it as well if you really, really want the position, but you're better off to be relaxed if you can, if you can be. Oh, good question from
Okay,
Alex.
so yes, Alex says, what's the meaning of eager? Someone who is eager is really excited and enthusiastic about something. Another word we can say is keen. And they really want to try hard either to achieve something or to learn about something. So maybe an eager student in an English class is the one asking all the questions because they're really excited and they want to learn.
Yeah,
And sometimes it can be good, it can be nice, but some people also can find it annoying if someone is too enthusiastic. I don't know why, because humans are really cynical, probably, and negative. We
yeah,
don't like enthusiastic people.
it's true.
Yeah, I
Yeah, I
like
think
them.
generally if we're talking about eager as well, if it's a good amount of eager, like a person who's determined can be described as eager. But yeah, obviously then with eager, if you're too eager, then you're probably beyond determined. You're just a bit too much.
Okay. Sylvia said to be honest and curious is what
Hmm.
makes people stand out. I like the honesty. I think curious as well. Definitely, you should always ask questions in an interview.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly. They like it when you express interest in the company, in the position.
yes. And Claudia
Okay.
says, I think it's important to be polite and educated.
Excellent. And just remember, I think maybe that's just a typo, but I think it is. Okay. I think it is important. It is important.
Ah, this is
Okay. Perfect. And what do you think, Jadine, about question 4? Do you think it's better to come across as excited and eager or quiet and confident?
for me personally, I think if I was giving an interview, then I'd
Mhm.
like to see someone who was excited and eager. Because even if they don't have all the experience, I think if someone really wants to learn and wants to do a good job,
Mm.
then if you have mentality, you will do well.
Yeah.
Um, Whereas if you're quiet, and confident, maybe you're not really sure what's
Mm,
happening. But it's just my impression that they've come across as confident, but maybe they wouldn't be. Um,
yeah,
but I think for other interviewers, maybe they prefer people who are quiet and confident because they feel like they have more experience.
it
So
depends
yeah,
as
that's
well
my
because
my
yeah. Yeah, I agree because but it could depend because if you think sometimes people can be quiet and confident in a nice way, but then they can be quiet and confident in a very not nice way.
yeah. So Sylvia says she works in HR. So tell us for question 4, Sylvia, what's more important for in HR? What do you guys look for? Someone who is excited and eager, or someone who is quiet and confident?
Really good. And just remember, so when we say HR, we usually say I'm in HR or I work in HR. Okay, I work in HR because it's human resources is a department. So we say I'm in the department.
Mhm.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. And also for IT. No, no, it's okay. For anyone who works in IT as well, we say the same thing. So I work in IT.
Excellent. Really good. So Flavia's saying, I think it's
Okay.
better to come across as eager and show a great interest in obtaining that position. Really good. Yeah, exactly. They want you to be interested. They want you to be interested.
I think so.
Oh, we got some more
Yeah.
comments coming in there. Sorry.
Yeah, yeah, they just appeared. So Maria or Mary says, I think that something that allows you to stand out during an interview is your attitude, is your style, and is your ideas. Okay, very nice. So just
Brilliant.
remember, it's still your ideas, your style, it's the possessive.
Hmm.
Um, because often there are a lot of people who apply or a lot of people applying for the same job position. And maybe all of these people are really prepared, but the company something more.
Hmm.
Okay, so you think you need to find a way, Maria, of showing your individuality, so who you are.
Exactly. Yeah, it's true. You kind of have to try and stand out. Okay, and then
Okay.
Claudia
So
says,
for question 2,
sorry. So have you
no,
ever
no,
turned up
you go.
late to an important event? No, when. Okay, so when I arrive early, maybe me. So when I arrive early, I remember my question list. Okay, so when I arrive early, I remember my question list. Okay, so you sound like you're very prepared. Prepared.
Yeah, I think for me, Claudia, I need just a little more detail. So maybe tell us which event you're talking about, so maybe we can understand a bit better.
Hmm.
Sylvia
Okay.
says it depends. So with an E, um, in my opinion, the young candidates could or maybe can come across excited and eager. But for a professional position, I prefer candidates that come across confident or as confident. So remember, we use come across, we use the present because we're talking in general, a habit. I often prefer people that come across like this. And then
Mhm.
as. Um, yeah, I have a feeling as well. I think it's the same with a lot of HR or a lot of interviewers. They prefer confident people or who are quiet. But I think, I don't know, for me personally, no. I want someone who's always enthusiastic
Mm.
about a job, um, no matter the age. I think it's nice. I think people don't really tend to love their jobs that
Yeah.
commonly. So it's really
Yeah.
nice when you meet someone who's really passionate and yeah, just
Yeah.
something
Because
different.
I think if someone's excited to join a company, then they're going to want to try and help the company in whatever way they can. So yeah, I think it's a positive thing. But yeah, it depends on the position, on the type of company.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, question number 5 is, why is it important to keep up with new developments in your industry? So,
Okay.
Alex says, because it's important to know as many things as possible about the company to show as much interest as possible. It's true. It's true. That's one reason,
Hmm.
definitely. Um, but also maybe so that you can do your job well. Because if you're focusing on something that maybe doesn't really exist anymore, or that people don't use
Hmm.
anymore, and you you go to an interview and you don't have any skills that are more needed, then it's
Hmm.
probably going to hinder you, so hold you back. You probably won't be as successful.
Yeah. Um, and Marta mentioned this about the kind of the question 4 that we were talking about. So remember, it depends. So I think it depends on, okay, so it depends on what type of position the interview is for, okay? If it's for a head position, okay, so a manager, I guess, something in management, it's better to be confident and quiet. Instead, if it's for a no experience member, it's better to be eager. So yeah, as we said, it kind of depends on the type of position as well. Yeah, I think also we can mix these qualities for sure.
Well, that's the dream, isn't it? Someone who's everything.
Exactly.
And Mary also agrees with you, Sylvia. Remember, we always need the subject, so it is better to come across as quiet and confident. So, very nice. There are just a few spelling mistakes. So, quiet and across only has one C.
Hmm.
Be wary. And Alex says, why is it important to keep up with new developments? It means to be on the ball. Yes, this is another way of saying something. So
Yeah,
to be
exactly.
focused and knowledgeable in certain areas is to be on the ball about something.
Exactly. And even there, you can
Good.
say it means you are on the ball. You are on the ball because we say that like you're on the ball, you're up to date. Really good. Yeah. Excellent. Okay, guys, so we're almost finished this webinar, but let us know if you've any questions, if you've any final points to add, any final answers. But yeah, really, really good work. Do you have any final tips to give the
Yeah,
guys
thank you
for
for being so
interviews?
no. But thank you for being so engaged. I think with interviews, definitely be prepared. So practice, think about what kind of questions I ask you, what kind of experience it will be good to show. But also just try to be yourself. I think don't ever try to pretend to be more confident than you are, or more skilled or less skilled. I think you just have to be honest, and
Exactly. Never
it's fine
lie.
if you believe you can do a job. Tell them why.
Yeah, I would just say don't ever lie because that will not be good. Um,
It
yeah,
will come.
because exactly, it will come back and hit you in the face.
Or maybe it won't come back and hit you in the face. I don't know. Maybe it won't.
Well,
I've never lied in an interview, but I can imagine there are lots of people who lie and then just get a job, and then when they're in the job, oh, now so
that's true,
I've
but
been doing it for a month.
I just imagine if they turn around and say like you said you're fluent in French, aren't you? You can run this webinar or this seminar or whatever. Like, sorry, what?
Yeah, oh yeah, no, don't lie and say you're fluent in a language. Don't do that. But maybe like, oh
Yeah,
yeah, I've used a system before.
exactly. Yeah, true.
Watch
Something
a
something
YouTube video.
achievable.
Thank you, everyone.
Okay, guys, thank you so much. I hope you have a
Okay.
lovely evening, and it was really lovely talking to you. And really good work in this lesson.
Bye
Very
bye.
productive. Bye.
Yeah.